Hello everybody and welcome back. It is once again me, your favorite deputy from Movie Deputy Podcasts, bringing to you the God's Not Dead review. There's actually going to be 4 movies in this series that we're going to cover over the next 4 days. So obviously today, tomorrow, and the next couple days after that. So we're going to be good to go. Before we get started in this one, I want you to go ahead and, if you have a chance, pause this and go check out the podcast on our Plain Movie Deputy channel about controversies and the creation of Movie Deputy, because we're actually God's Not Dead was actually a pivotal movie in the creation of Movie Deputy. With that podcast, you will actually hear my first quote unquote or unquote review that I put on Facebook of this God's Not Dead movie. Now, I'm going to be reading you my original 300 words or less review that I had on moviedeputy.com, or technically I still have, but it will soon be had on that. But you might think that they sound almost the same, but listen carefully because they truly are different on the 2 reviews on that. It really kind of shows how much I've grown and everything like that as a critic, and even my score level. My original first Facebook post that I wrote the God's Not Dead review on, I actually gave it, this is before I'd created my rating system or anything like that, and so I gave the original God's Not Dead a 1 thumbs up, because I couldn't give it a 2 thumbs up by any means, and there was no such thing as a no thumbs up. And I actually, on a personal level, I only gave it a 2. So even back then, I kind of calculated based on a 10-point system, or 10-star system. I personally gave the movie a 2. Professionally, as Movie Deputy, once I created a deputy and created my ranking system that I still use to this day, I gave it a 4 out of 10. Now, you'll kind of understand why once I get a little bit more into this. It's basically about a story, or here, let me just get into what I wrote on my review, like I said, on the website first. I see both sides of the argument in God's Not Dead. I think that Josh, played by Shane Harper, presented his facts in an open and clear way. Though in a class of approximately 80 students given by him in the movie, it is difficult to believe that he was the lone one who refused to write God's Not Dead and sign the paper. The other storylines in the movie I felt were a distraction. The boy from the People's Republic of China and the Muslim girl didn't give enough of their stories to fully understand. What happened to the professor was a very unsatisfactory ending. It happened so abruptly that we weren't able to hear in his own words what he was going to share with the woman he loved. The Duck Dynasty portion seemed detached and almost unrelated to the movie. The only connection was the reporter. The reporter's story was also very anticlimactic. Even after she saw the band at the end, we were left hanging as to where her heart was. I enjoyed the movie, but I was disappointed at the same time. If the movie had stayed more focused on Josh and the professor, with the pastor's story included, I feel it would have been a more conclusive story. Now, reading my review on the website and hearing it from my words with the emphasis in different parts, I don't know if that's going to change that for anybody. I kind of hope so, because you don't hear emphasis when you're reading something. At least I haven't figured out how to. Some people might be able to, but my brain kind of goes on that sometimes when I'm trying to figure that out. And I know I'm going to take a lot of criticism on this as well, because people are like, okay, well, what gives you the right to comment on such a movie like this? I've run into so many people that this is their favorite movie of all time, and I ask them why. And I get this look of just, like, what do you mean, why? Didn't you see the movie? Didn't you understand the topic? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, well, you must be on the left. No. I try to explain to people I'm a constitutional conservative. I was agnostic. I became a Christian. I would honestly consider myself an agnostic Christian, to be completely honest. And that's not a contradiction if you really think about it. So my beliefs don't necessarily align with any mainstream religion or anything along those lines. I'm not going to go too deep into that because I don't want to offend certain people. Not that I'm worried about, anything like that. As you can tell, the movie is not at all woke at all, which is so nice. A lot of the pure flicks movies like this one don't go off the deep end as much as Hollywood has, which is such a nice and refreshing change. But at the same time, it's like going maybe too far in the other direction. For a very strong Christ-centered community, these movies are great. And these movies really are inspirational, and I would even dare to say incredible. But for anybody outside of that group of individuals, people are going to feel alienated by movies like this, and so they're never going to see them, and they're never going to experience them because they're expecting them to be a certain way before they even give them a chance. This one, because of the fact that it looks at it from both sides, I wish that this one had a wider audience, because the way it approaches it and just the context of everything in the story, even with the distractions, it's an important story to tell, and it's important why Josh took a stance on the fact that he wouldn't write that down and sign the paper, and it's important why the professor pushed it as well. And you may be wondering, Stormy, you okay? Sorry, one of my kitties are in here. I've got two of the boys in here with me at the moment. But like I said, each part of this story, at least the main parts of the story, are important. The other parts that were a distraction, I mean, this movie probably could have been an hour or less and still told the same story. It just felt like there was a lot of filler that was unnecessary. But overall, like I said, it was a really good movie. I did give this a guilty rating on the deputy skills. That's more for that was a loud motorcycle going by. Sorry about that. But like I said, I did give this a guilty rating. You may be wondering why, but it's because of some of the subject matter that's addressed here. It's maybe not appropriate for the youngest of audiences. But overall, like I said, I do recommend it, even with the low score of 4. If you haven't looked at the rating system recently, or if you haven't listened to the Welcome to Movie Deputy podcast recently, a score of a 4 means watchable but forgettable. Though this movie is not particularly forgettable, it still technically falls within that line just because there's so much going on that distracts from the original story, which is why I ended up where I ended up on the score. But I hope this has helped you a little bit. Like I said, feel free to check out our new show over on our Movie Deputy channel called Controversies and the Creation of Movie Deputy for a little bit more insight into this. But stay tuned for tomorrow for God's Not Dead 2, and I look forward to talking to you then. Bye-bye.